All right, welcome to Against All Odds, part of the Extra Points Podcast Network. Oh boy, what a fun one today. Great pairing. Wrestlemania 39 this Saturday, this Sunday, 2 days. It's so good. They had to spread it over the entire weekend. And today, we're once again joined by our favorite. He's been a WWE champion, an Intercontinental champion, tag team champion, so many more titles. More importantly, after the Oscar fiasco, he and his lovely bride, Maurice, are now deemed Hollywood's most beloved couple. You see them on Ms. and Mrs., and you could see him with another lover, I think. I don't know how that works out. Logan Paul. This weekend, they take on Dominic and Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania. Mike Mizanin, what's happening, Miz?
I'm feeling pretty good today. I mean, we got WrestleMania coming up. We're on Saturday. It'll be available on the Peacock Network. And let me tell you something. People have been asking me, why Logan Paul? And in my head, I was like, I couldn't think of a better tag team partner. Like if I would have chose someone in the WWE locker room, then you would know what you're getting. You know what's in store for you. But since I brought in an outsider, a celebrity, a social media megastar, if you will, an NFT guru, if you will, and basically went the distance with pound for pound, the greatest boxer, the greatest fighter we've ever known in Floyd Money Mayweather. So the guy can fight as well. I think taking on a WWE legend like Rey Mysterio and his son, Dominic Mysterio, it's going to be an absolute must-watch match.
Well, now you may have steered him into a 12-car pileup here because you created a lot of bad blood. I know you didn't like Rey, you didn't like Dominic to begin, but now you go and you remove Rey's mask, right?
Well, what do you do when you don't get the respect you've earned? You take it. And so that's exactly what I did. What's the most disrespectful thing you could do to a luchador? That is take their mask, reveal their identity. Now, Rey's identity wasn't revealed, but I tried, and I still have tonight in order to do that. Right.
Yes, you definitely do. And have you thought about putting it on yourself and been calling yourself Mysterio?
Is it too much of a thing? I've been thinking about that. I think, I might give it to Logan Paul, and to see Logan Paul walk out with a Rey Mysterio mask on as the greatest luchador in history will be pretty epic. So I think it'll be a lot of fun.
And especially since he's the cover star of WWE 2K22, right? I mean, you could sell it now and make a fortune and make an NFT out of it. Who the hell knows what you could do with this thing?
Yeah, you can do a little bit of everything. I mean, Rey Mysterio is the cover star of WWE 2K22, which I believe I should be. I believe I should be on every poster, but sometimes I don't get the luck of the draw, if you will.
All right. Well, tell us about Logan and how he ranks. You said, he did stand toe-to-toe with Mayweather for a little bit, but as a wrestler, now I have video of you training him. I saw it. Is he ready? Is he going to be ready for this weekend?
So I thought, about 2 weeks ago, I was like, we're training, and I was like, he's ready. And that was 2 weeks ago. And now going into WrestleMania, not only is he ready, he's by far above and beyond any of my expectations. I honestly think after we're done with the Mysterios, we could go after the Raw Tag Team Championships. That's how confident I am with not only his ability, but his ability to just be a sponge and learn and take everything in and understand what we do as WWE superstars. But physically in the ring, he is absolute gifted. He just gets things on the first try. Like me, when I first started in WWE, it took me a while to get it. Like whenever I show Logan a move, or he'll get it on the first try. It's really incredible, the athletic ability that he possesses.
And have you worked on a finisher or like a combined finisher? I mean, you don't have to tell me what it is.
He already knows how to do the skull crushing finale. So, I mean, a double skull crushing finale would be really nice.
Wow. I'm getting excited about this.
You should be.
I have to look to see if I could bet on that. I don't typically want to bet on you because, I do. And then our friend Brian Gewirtz, who's going to join us momentarily, says he talks me out of it. But you're saying this is a win.
What does he know? He knows a little bit about Young Rock. That's about it. He doesn't know much about fantasy football, baseball, basketball. He doesn't know about regular basketball, football, baseball, because he's never played it. All he does is sit in his room and write stuff all day. just talk smack in his mirror to himself all day, every day. So, he's not a person that you want to ask about it. I am a person that you want to ask. And I always say, bet on the Miz, always bet on the Miz, because when it comes to big matches, I win. And you want to know why I know that? Because I'm the only 2-time Grand Slam champion in the history of WWE.
That's right. You really are. And you're and there's not even, Logan can't even, he can't even take anything away from you. Right. You're going to have that forever. All right. Let's bring Brian on.
Logan wouldn't take anything away from me because he's the one person that respects me. And, we build each other up. Like when you look at Rey Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio, or anyone in the WWE locker room, like I don't get the respect I deserve. And even in the WWE universe, like I don't get it. Like I don't understand. Like I think Brian said it the best. Brian in my WWE 24 documentary basically said like, Miz will never make it past 3 months in WWE. Then he does it. He'll never be a WWE champion. Then he does it. He's WWE champion, but he's not a good wrestler. Oh, but he becomes a good wrestler. Oh, but he's not a hardcore wrestler. Oh, but then he does a hardcore move. And then he'll never win the championship again. Oh, he wins the championship again. Brian said it the best. And maybe we could ask him to rehash on that and talk to us about that. About the compliments that he gave me on WWE 24, because I usually send him through text those videos quite a bit, just because I want to remind him that he compliments me.
Right. All right.
Let's bring him on Twitter.
I think he logged on now. He had some big fancy important meeting, which delayed him about 5 or 6 minutes, but I think we could bring him on now.
Who's more important than me?
Joining us now, here he is, Miz. I mean, things are about to get contentious. I'm sorry. Your former head writer at the WWE and Raw, the big brain behind $7 Productions, responsible for Young Rock and the old Rock, I think. The older Rock, I think, if you can make a case. Miz is BFF, best friend of me forever, Brian Gewirtz. What's happening, Brian?
What's up, Sal? Good to see you. Also, Miz is here.
Now, Miz, he went off a little bit. He had a lot to. He was complimentary. I think before we started the podcast, and then well, let's start there. Let's start on a pleasant note, Miz. What were you going to say? You saw something this weekend.
I saw something this week. I don't remember.
With Brian was responsible for something you saw yesterday. You were watching. Oh, now
really?
Yeah.
Oh, WWE Evil, but I don't think Brian was responsible for that. Is that what you're talking about?
Wasn't.
He wasn't responsible for that.
Whatever
John
you told
Cena
me,
is
he
the
was
executive
responsible
producer,
for.
Al.
Yeah,
I was asked to participate in it, and I saw that it was for the Miz episode, and I politely declined.
Really?
Well, but you did do an interview for WWE 24, which I love sending you those clips because it's nice to hear compliments coming out of your mouth in my documentary.
Well, you learn your lessons sometimes.
Wow.
And that's what happened.
So, Brian, we set this up. We have a lot to talk about. The Browns, the League of Leagues, WrestleMania, though, 39 this weekend. Miz has decided to team up with Logan Paul and going against the Mysterios. And he is saying he is a lock. And I was reminding him that a lot of times I go to bet on him because you could bet on the wrestling, the results here, and you talk me out of it. And he says that would be a huge mistake, even listening to you in the first place. But he swears he's going to win this weekend.
Well, I mean, he's already won, in my opinion, in all seriousness.
Wow.
The fact that he was able to get a tag team partner more loathsome than himself.
You're a real piece of work, Brian. I thought that was a compliment, and I figured you would start with a backhanded compliment. I was like, oh, wow, I'm getting a compliment. Here it comes. And then there it is, the slap in the face.
Very forehanded. No. I mean, I'm kudos to you. You're the likable one in the tag team. That's nearly impossible.
I think that is a compliment.
Yeah. So, take it in. But this is the second year in a row that Miz is involved in a high profile celebrity tag team match at WrestleMania. And that shows that, for all his faults, of which there are many, the company obviously trusts him and trusts that he'll, know how to handle himself in front of the media and know how to, take someone who's not necessarily used to performing in the ring through a match, even if he's not competing against him, but with him, but it's all, combined. So kudos to you, Liz.
Wait a second. You trusted me back when you were head writer of Monday Night Raw.
I'm trying to shower you with compliments, Miz.
Those were backhanded compliments. You're like, it just goes to show. I mean, they trust him now. You trusted me since day one. Since day one, you would write me stuff and I'd be like, oh, this is okay. I can make it better. This crap you gave me on this piece of paper, I can make this better.
I gave you brilliance. I don't know what you're talking about, but
I love this.
The fact of the matter is, Miz is, you've carved out a niche for yourself.
A niche?
Yeah.
I'm the celebrity guy now. That's the niche that I have. Celebrities want to work with me, and WWE superstars don't want to work with me because I'm the best. I'm the greatest of all time. Nobody's better than me, especially in my mind.
Because I was saying, like, how am I going to finish the sentence? And then in the back of my mind, I thought, you know what? It doesn't really matter because whatever I say, he's going to go off. Like, oh, Miz likes sweet potatoes. Oh, I like sweet potatoes. You don't know the first thing about me and sweet potatoes. You know,
I actually do like sweet potatoes. Thank you very much. They're actually my favorite potato.
Well, there you go.
I do have to say, we were talking the other day, and I had you guess because the news had just come out about Miz's house, how much it's selling for. He put it on the market. And you and I guessed about the same number, and I think he's embarrassed to say.
What did you guess? What was your number that you guessed?
I think we were in the 3 to 5 range.
Okay,
that might have been millions of dollars. Yeah, and then I hit you, and you were walloped by the actual number, which is. Do you want to say Miz, or do we have to say this?
You can say it if you want. Go ahead. I don't care.
Asking $12.5 million. I mean, the guy is doing something right, Bri. A, and B. Do you feel you deserve a cut of this because you kind of, you did right for him. He's known for his work behind the mic. I don't know. Should you be in on this? He's turning quite a profit on this mansion.
I don't want any of Mrs. Blood money, to be honest. And secondly, I've been inside of his house that he's selling for far more than the market value should, dictate. And if you go into that house, you'll see it's a lovely house. It's a great house. I'm not even sure. Like, I don't even know what your deal is. Like, you live in Texas, you live in LA.
I live in LA. Thank you. A suburb outside of LA. And the reason why I put my house up for sale, like, I love my house. I think it's the most amazing house. Like, it's like the dream house. But when your real estate agent comes up to you and goes, "Hey, I could sell it for this price," I literally gulped and said, "There's no way." He goes, "No, I can get it. I can get that money." And I said, "I will take the money all day long."
Oh, or that. Yes.
I will take the money all day long. Absolutely. Like, even though I love the house is amazing. The house is incredible. It's my dream home. I can find another dream home for the money they're telling me that I can get. So
Miz, you're
I'm
saying
person
this
that is smart with my money, unlike you, Sal, who likes to gamble all the time, his money away, and listen to Brian for advice. Like, if anyone is you don't want to look to advice for it, it's definitely Brian. I mean, look at his background of his. He lives in a 1-bedroom apartment in New York City. He's lived in the same one for the past 30 years, has not moved out of that place, and he still has the same decor as he has. He's the head of $7 Entertainment. Like, he writes Young Rock. These are big shows. This guy should be in a penthouse in New York, but no, he still lives in a shack.
So do you think he should try to figure out how much that shack is worth? I mean, you were surprised.
Oh, I can't wait till it comes up on the market, because I'll be on every podcast going, "Brian selling his house for this amount."
First of all, there are some great things. We should do a separate podcast, Sal, because as you know, there's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Shea Stadium wall panels with numbers on them that exist. And you and I account for 2/7 of them.
Yes, thank you.
358 panel in the Mets room, which is where the previous podcast was that we did together. So I wanted to change it up a little bit.
That's right.
I have a Shea Stadium directional ramp behind me. I have the Mets dugout bench behind me from Shea Stadium. I have an official.
The reason you have all those things is because nobody cares about them. And if you did a podcast on that, nobody would listen because literally nobody cares.
It would garner at least the amount of Ms. Evil episodes on Peacock downloads.
Let me tell you something. That is the most downloaded Peacock WWE Evil episode out there right now. Everyone has said how amazing it is, how incredible it is, how much respect I deserve. And so I just want you to watch it just so you can like gulp and be like, "Oh,
I did watch it.
I wish I would have been in that interview."
What do you think?
I personally didn't need 48 minutes to tell me Miz is a prick. I kind of knew that going in. But other than that, it was, honestly, it was very well done. And I know the guys who make it, it's very, very well produced.
John Cena? Oh, you know John Cena?
I wasn't talking about John Cena.
You didn't want to name drop your buddy? Like, well, I'm hired by The Rock. I'm the president of Rock's company.
I'm not a star
If you want me to talk about John Cena, let's talk about John Cena, his executive producer at WWE.
Narrates it. I know the actual people who made it, not just I'm not just a blatant name dropper like some people. but I thought it was going to like delve into more of the psychological elements and, you know, compare you to classic villain archetypes and stuff like that. But it was it was just a nice Miz profile. It was way too much.
Are you giving notes? Like,
yes,
are you giving notes right now? This isn't Young Rock, okay? You don't give notes here on the podcast about WWE Evil. It's done. It's locked. It's in. It's out there, and it's great.
The Hulk Hogan episode was great. Yes, I agree.
All right. Speaking of evil, I don't want to get too into the politics or anything else, but you're a Cleveland Browns fan still, right, Miz?
Huge. It's tough to be a Browns fan right now because so when I first heard that we got Deshaun Watson, like my stomach sank. And I was like, oh, like the first time we get a QB1, a QB that literally, if you look at his physical attributes, is the quarterback that the Browns have dreamed of. But then you look at the baggage that comes with it and you think to yourself, is it worth it? And then you look at the press conference and you listen to, these heads, Andrew Berry, you listen to Kevin Stefanski. These are people that have families. And then D and Jimmy Haslam, like this is $1 billion franchise. And the work that they put into dissecting everything about the case, like I listened to it, and I've been trying to be my own lawyer here and trying to figure out what to think, how to feel, and to hear Deshaun Watson say, he believes he's innocent, like 100%. Like he is like, I've never disrespected a woman. I have never sexually assaulted a woman. But then there's 22 women talking about it. But then you have like a company saying, look, it looked into this. Like not only did we look into it, like we looked into it. We have a third party that we hired to look into this, and we still hired him. So like, I don't know what to be honest. Like people are like, well, what do you think? Like, I don't know. I don't know what to think. And it's like, then you hear Deshaun say like, I can't wait till I can talk about this because he can't. Like, what was your first reaction?
Well, my first reaction is once it gets beyond 2 or 3, it is too difficult to coordinate. It's too coincidental. You have 2 starting football teams worth of women. You have a battle royal worth of accusers. If you picture a room in 22, that's a full room. That's a room I don't really want to go to a party at because I'm claustrophobic. But it doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem right. It seems like, and all the other owners are pissed. First of all, the one thing you forget is this guy tore his ACL twice. So it's a risk just signing him just based on that. And then secondly, now with all the accusers and you reward him because the way the structure of the salary is, if he gets suspended, which he will, 4 to 6 to 8 games, he's not going to get dinged on that 1 year. Or if he does, I think he's making $1 million for the year. It's all in signing bonus. It's the most guaranteed. And it's just crazy that this is going to restructure all the owners hate the Haslams if they didn't already because of what this does. Wait a second.
So there were other teams involved. Like it wasn't like just the Browns.
Someone would have signed them.
There was like four, I believe, teams that were like in the running to get Deshaun Watson. Like it was a bidding war. So, okay. So that's where I'm weirded out.
I don't know what to do because he wasn't charged, and history shows us that, well, the league is not going to punish someone who wasn't charged for any of this. But to think that there's only 22 and not 32, and it's a big risk to say that there's not going to be any more down the line. Like, I think that's where the problem is. Brian, you're smart. What do you think about this?
I think, thank you. I think there's 2 things. One, no one's mentioned the fact that the last time we did this podcast, Miz guaranteed the Browns would have a better record than the Bills.
I thought I remember that too. Yeah.
Thank you.
He hasn't brought that up since, oddly. And 2, if the trajectories are correct, Watson should be teaming with Miz at next year's WrestleMania in Los Angeles.
No, I don't think so.
Not going to do it?
No, not. I don't think so. No.
All right. No. Well, you got some time to think about it, but
no, I'm honestly, I was like, literally like, what do you do as a fan? Like you're a fan of the Browns. You've been a fan your entire life.
That's the thing. We're the constant. Dave Dameshek brings this up all the time. The fan is the constant. There's even new owners, there's new players, but there would be something, what would your team have to do for you to be like, you know what? I'm cutting ties. Bri, it's tough for us with the Mets, right? We grew up with them. We have ownership. We had GMs who have pictures on their phones and stuff. We've had some questionable, that 86 Mets documentary showed that there were some undesirables on the roster. But what do you do? What would have to happen?
It's hard to completely disabandon team loyalty for an individual. I mean, 22 people coming forward, that's like, I mean, I don't know specifics about the case. I didn't look into it, but 22 is pretty damning. And, like this isn't nearly, it's not the same at all, obviously. But like when you have a guy that's your guy, like Vince Coleman's throwing firecrackers at a child, severely burning a 3-year-old in 1993, it's like you want the player off the team. And it's like, really gross and disgusting, but you still, there's part of you that just can't help but support the team. But at the same time, I don't know, hopefully actual evidence and facts will come to light, and then that will make the decision a little easier.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Well,
I'm
what
hoping
about
for
this?
With time, we'll understand exactly what is going on, because you hear two sides and you don't know which side to believe. One side leaning pretty heavily, but then you still have that little teeter of, but wait a second, this guy is not even being like, I'm sorry for what I did, but he's like, I am innocent. And it's like, and then a $1 billion franchise literally just picked this guy up and said, not only is he innocent, we've looked into it and we've found that he is innocent. And it's like, oh, wow, like they must really believe that. So then these other 22 women, are they lying? Or I just don't know what to think. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a human being trying to understand what my team's going to do. Like, honestly, I feel like they're going to the Super Bowl. And if we win the Super Bowl, are we gonna be able to celebrate that?
Yeah, you will, because people forget and they move on. And, Big Ben Roethlisberger was, whatever. I mean, you had Kareem Hunt as a running back. That was okay, right? Everybody.
He got suspended and, there was a whole, yeah, you're right.
But I will say this. So, all right, let's talk turkey here. The Browns are favored to win their division at plus 185. I think this is a little bit of a stretch, seeing as who's your quarterback? It's going to be Jacoby Brissett for the first 6 weeks, probably.
I think Jacoby Brissett is a great backup quarterback.
Sure.
I thought he did pretty well with the Colts. And I think if they can go even, when Deshaun gets back in there, I think this team is set to go. Like, and honestly, I think players want to play for Cleveland right now. Like, I'm hearing, like, I don't know about you, but I'm reading all the dirt on all, like, what's going on and who wants to go where. And it feels like a lot of people want to come to the Cleveland and play for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, no, it does seem that way.
OBJ
I just don't know if they should be.
Said I'd want to come play for the Browns.
Should they be favored?
I don't know, but still, like that, it seems like it's a destination now.
But if your goal is 4-4 after the 8 games, let's say he's suspended 8 games or 3-3, whatever. I don't know that they should be favored. I like the Ravens a little bit, Brian. I'm not just saying that to enrage the Miz. I will say this. This is the first time probably since you guys have known each other that both your respective teams, the Bills and the Browns, are favored to win their division, right? It couldn't have been any different, right?
Yeah, probably. But people want to come to Buffalo. I mean, that's the real headline of the offseason.
Do they?
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
There's a guy named Von Miller. I don't know if you've heard of him. He just came off a Super Bowl win, and he signed a 6-year, $120 million contract and specifically said, I want to come to Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give Buffalo this. That was the greatest game I've ever seen of football. Kansas City Chiefs versus the Buffalo Bills, especially when the Buffalo Bills lost.
Mm-hmm. Bri would say the week before. Was it the week before when they dismantled the Patriots on that Saturday night?
Dude, you want to watch a football game. You tell us, for the first time a person's ever watched football in their life, what game you having them watch? You're having them watch the Bills versus the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm. That was excellent. Browns Chiefs the year before in the playoffs was pretty good too. I don't think you like you don't like the result though, right?
I didn't like the result.
No.
Thank you for reminding me of that. Appreciate it. Sticking up for your buddy Brian over there.
Well, it could be 1 and 2 seeds we're looking at here. This is insanity. So the Browns to win the Super Bowl, as Miz predicts, is 18-1. The Bills are plus 650, Bri.
The Browns aren't. What do you know? I mean, the Browns come after the Bills, obviously. They come after the Chiefs. They come after the Chargers.
Not anymore. I don't think the Chiefs are as lethal as they once were.
They definitely come after Cincinnati.
I honestly think the Bills are better than KC now. Absolutely. But I think KC drops a little bit. I think Tyreek was a very valuable weapon that they have lost. Like, the reason why there was 2 safeties out there was because of Tyreek Hill. Those safeties are no longer going to be there. They're going to stack the box. So I think that KC is going to have a big problem on their hands, and they need a person that has that speed. And Tyreek's a one of a kind.
I agree. And I think
you think the best wide receiver in football, statistically, leaving a team is going to be a big loss. And that's the type of insight you could only get from Mike the Miz Mizanin on this podcast live as we record it. That's some good insight.
Thank you very much. I have much
compliment.
More. Yeah, another compliment.
I do think, though, with Devontae Adams going to the Raiders and Tyreek Hill getting shipped off to Miami, I think the fantasy owners suffer. I think both players take a fantasy hit. I think Mahomes takes a hit, and I think Rodgers takes a hit, or until it's figured out. I don't
think Derek Carr takes a hit. I think Derek Carr is going to be a sleeper.
Sure, but does he start in a 10-team league? Now we're getting in the weeds. Is he a starting quarterback, Derek Carr? He's close,
I haven't went through my rankings yet, but I'd say he's right on the cusp.
Yeah. It's close. I'm not sure if I go. Now, by the way, we're talking fantasy, and we have this league of leagues. It's NBA, it's NBA, it's NFL, and it's Major League Baseball. And we kind of have to get the draft going. We typically do it the first weekend of the NCAA tournament, but baseball threw us a curveball, no pun intended, and we weren't sure if we were having it. And now we know it's starting. We kind of have to now do this draft this weekend. The Miz is wrestling. Brian said, "Don't worry." On a very funny happening. On the chain.
No, I texted Toby. I said, "Look, you're not doing the draft on WrestleMania week. It's just not happening. Like, that's dumb. It's stupidity. Like, you know that I'm a little busy on WrestleMania weekend, especially on Saturday. I have a wrestling match. Like, I know Brian doesn't have anything to do besides sit in his little room and write little jokes. And you just have your little podcast, literally talk on a microphone. But someone has a real job here. All right."
Brian, what do you think? Maybe we do have to grant them. We have to do it a different week and retroactively do some baseball lineups. I don't know.
I said, in the email that Miz's match, he'll probably be working for about 6 minutes the entire weekend after entrances and everything. So, just get one of his Cleveland buddies to do the draft for you for like a half hour, because that's all.
Why can't we do it Sunday anyway? I'm not on WrestleMania on Sunday. I could do it on Sunday.
No, it's a 2-day draft.
It's not a 2-day draft.
No,
it's a 1-day draft.
Knocking it out in
all
one,
day.
Right?
What's wrong with you, Brian? You're such a baby. You know what? You're like an old man now. Oh, I can't draft for 8 hours. It's too long. I need things to do. That. What do you have to do? You do nothing all day. Like, literally all you do is sit down and make phone calls.
And actually, they're playing the Cavs on April 2nd. You should come out.
Wait, what?
The Knicks are playing the Cavs. Yeah, interesting.
I have tickets that day. It's a 1:00 game. You can get to the Garden, watch the Cavs lose to the Knicks.
But you're missing the point. I'd have to sit with you for a couple hours. And honestly, being on a draft for 8 hours with you is enough.
No, that's incessantly cruel. I don't know why you would say something like that. You can come to my hovel of an apartment on the Upper East Side of Manhattan.
I will say this, though. League of Leagues this year, I crapped the bed, man. I'll tell you what. I was absolutely atrocious.
What happened?
I just couldn't figure out COVID. Like, like a lot of those in baseball, like every time a player got it, I was like, oh my gosh. And then we have those weekly things where you can't get rid of them. Like, they're just in your lineup.
Now,
that's true. That's the one thing I'll agree with Miz on. You were excessively terrible this year in all 3 sports.
You're a real piece of work.
Baseball, basketball,
likes
and football. And then when Sal and our team will have now beaten you, I think 2 or 3 years in a row, and 3 years before the 1 year that you did win it. So that's like a nice.
Wait, what was that? Who won the league?
And 3 years
ago,
who
won the league?
I think.
Who won the league? Who's the champ?
We have won the league as well.
What did he do? He tanked the whole sport, though, right? Which we never liked, Brian. I forgot what he did.
He said if he's not going to finish first, he might as well finish last. I didn't realize that philosophy applied to literally all 3 sports, which doesn't seem to really seem like a sound strategy at first.
Do you not take from Ricky Bobby? If you're not first, you're last.
Well, yeah. I mean, my fantasy sports philosophy, isn't reduced to a single Talladega Nights quote. Thankfully, it's a little more, because I'm a little, no offense, it's a little smarter, a little more intuitive. So therefore I make better choices. But you know what? You have a good team. You do your thing, I guess. You draft somewhat in your car, I suppose. I don't know. And more power to you. Good for you.
I have drafted in my car. I have made sacrifices for the League of Leagues. Let me tell you something. Like I have put the work, I've put the time, and this season, I feel like I am going to dominate because I'm knowledgeable, I'm preparing. And whenever I prepare, like last season, I didn't really prepare. I was like, I can wing it. And then I realized, you can't wing it. You really got to step foot forward because granted, Sal and Brian are a toss-up. They kind of suck, but everyone else is pretty legit in this league. So you really have to step your game up. You got to put your A face on and really prepare.
I am going to say this, Brian. In all honesty, I thought Miz would fall flat on his face in this league. I thought he'd be basically like me and just checking in once in a while. And, oh, my God, this is too hard. And I don't want to field these dumb trade offers, 2 catchers for a backup wide receiver. I can't do it. He really did stick with it. Come on, that had to surprise you a little bit, didn't it?
No, he definitely stuck with it. He didn't. The results didn't translate into any sort of.
I won the league, Brian. I won the league.
1 year out of how many now? 5, 6? I don't remember. 1 for
5 in a league of 14 people is pretty good.
Saying, like those, you get money for every.
By the way, the first 2 seasons, that's just getting the feel of it. I've never done NFL, NBA, and MLB. I never drafted all of them in one day.
Interesting. Because Sal and I won the inaugural season of this league.
That's right. That's really the only one.
Because nobody knew what they were doing, you dummy. Nobody knew what they were doing the first season of the league. What I was doing. So you guys were just like, I guess we'll do this, we'll do this, and then you end up winning. It's just luck of the draw. That's lucky. You have to develop skill over time.
Are you going to draft your car again so I can get calls 8 hours into the draft going, tell him I want Bradley Beal? I'm like, no, Miz, he was drafted 3 hours ago. Okay, then I want Kareem Hunt. He was drafted 2 hours ago, Miz. This league is stupid. I'll call you back. And have that happen at least 5 times a day.
That's a true story. That is a true story.
Did that happen?
You have no idea how many times that happened. If there's ever a problem with the league, Toby's not getting the call. You're not getting the call. Brian's getting the call. And usually it's yelling. It's yelling at the top of my lungs that he is cheating and that this league is cheating and this league deserves a better GM.
Which, by the way, I'm not the GM, but I do text back Miz every time with the same opening sentence, which is, if you would just look at the email that was literally sent to everyone, including you, you'll find the answer that you've just been asking me for.
And emails are hard to find, to be honest. I have a hard time finding my emails.
More than 3 sentences? What are you talking about? I'm from Parma, Ohio. We have a 7th grade education. That kind of thing.
Do you say that?
I went to Miami of Ohio, Harvard of the Midwest. Thank you very much.
It's a weird thing to brag about. I do want to ask you guys, Miz, I'll start with you. The Will Smith moment, people can't shut up about it, and probably because it's one of the most remarkable, going to be hard to top. I'm just trying to think, however you want to rank them, Will Smith and Chris Rock, top 5 most beloved or most impactful in their genre, right? Like actor and comedian of our time. And I likened it to Michael Jordan smacking Bruce Springsteen in the face, right? If you're just going to take the arts of this, but so it's untoppable there. But did you guys, now, first of all, were you watching live, Miz? Did you see it live?
I was not watching live. I was in Toronto. We had a live event out there, sold out, by the way. And we were flying from Toronto here to Pittsburgh, which is where I'm at right now. And
okay, so you land there, and you see
in my first case, I wasn't sure if it was a punch or a slap. And in my head, I first went Ali, the guy that played Ali, should know how to punch a guy. To me, Chris Rock took it like a champ. He literally, if it was a punch, Chris Rock just did it and shook it off and just man, I was like, oh man. And then once I realized it was a slap and then you hear his speech, I was like, man, something's going on with Will Smith in my mind. And I don't know what's going on, if pressure is getting to him, but man, that was crazy. I couldn't believe it because it's Will Smith. I still look at him as is Big Willie style, like freaking Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, ultimate baby face, ultimate good guy. And for something like that, like for Chris Rock to come out, like I feel like what's going to happen when Chris Rock is out there, right? He's going to roast everyone,
right?
And maybe it was a bad joke, but people were laughing, and it's like, oh, ha ha ha, and then, man, I don't know. There's just other ways to deal with that sort of thing. That sort of thing. Like I don't know, man. I don't know what to think, to be honest.
Well, so. All right, so between just the distinction between a punch and a slap, and I'm curious to get your thoughts here. When you see it's a slap, right? Although it was a weird slap because it had like a chop at the end, went on the follow through, so it's a real movie type of slap. But all right, so if he's not punching him, he's got the wherewithal to know that a punch is going to land me in real hot water here. But the slap opens it up to: is this kayfabe? Like what are we looking at? Right? Could this be a work? And then
all right, what's more humiliating? Getting punched by a guy or getting slapped and then a guy walking away and you doing nothing?
Yeah.
I think slapped with a glove would be up the upper echelon.
Yeah, just like a white glove. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. With crumpets in the other hand.
I didn't see it live either because I wasn't watching the Oscars. First of all, I was watching the Nets game because I had Kyrie with the over.
Yeah. Well, I bet the Oscars. So it's not like, I'm not watching.
Then I was reading a book about the Mets. And then I just saw on the Twitter feed and everything, kind of crazy.
You read books and while watching Twitter, like reading Twitter, like that's what you do.
I multitask. Yeah.
Did you have a glass of wine while sipping your wine in front of your hot fire?
I had some Chardonnay while reading about the Andy Chavez catch in 2006. No, it was, you can't handle it any better than Chris Rock handled it. I was so in awe of that, to be honest. I mean, he could have freaked out.
I wonder if he regrets it. I'm sure we'll find out at some point. I'm sure.
Well, he even started to say, I could say something right now. He's Chris Rock.
He did. By the way, he did say something. I just got slapped by Will Smith. Is basically what he said.
He could have said something kind of a good or incendiary, but he handled it like a champ, and it's like really, really tough to do. Obviously he was a little flustered, as one would be, but his composure and everything, like I agree, the joke should not have been said. It wasn't even really funny. His previous joke about Jada at the previous Oscars was really funny, and maybe that carried over.
That was 6 years. Yeah. That's what,
and maybe like the heat doesn't go away. I know if we proposed that for the Slammies, Vince would say, get out. That's too, ridiculous. No one would even talk about that. But that's one of the many things that WWE's desensitized people to. Like if anything happened in WWE in real life, if someone actually like smacked an announcer while talking to them, that happens in WWE like once out of every like 5 interviews or something like that, it would be national headlines.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm a little concerned. I'm sure everyone, and their mother has an opinion on this. I'm a little concerned about people with far less talent and far more confidence sitting in a crowd, going up to a stand-up comedian, basically being, I'm going to go full Hancock like Will Smith did on this guy type of thing. And, it really getting out of hand in a hurry. And maybe in wrestling too, although as Miz knows, in wrestling, if someone steps into the ring when they're not supposed to, that usually means pretty dire consequences for the person who does that.
I wonder if Vince would have pursued this. It's almost the worst timing because it's a few days before Mania. But if this was a couple months before, like if this had happened in January and there was still like, I apologize, but whatever, there's somewhere in the middle, could this been worked into WrestleMania 39?
That would have been Vince's dream, I'm sure. I mean, that would be tremendous.
It's too tough now. Yeah.
Yeah. You kind of want to fantasy book it and everything, even if it's not going to happen.
No, but you're right. The fact that he was allowed to sit there in the audience, like how rich, how powerful do you have to be to have committed an assault in front of hundreds in the room and millions on television? And they're like, just let him sit there. We still want to get a few cutaways of him laughing at stuff and whatever. Oh, and then he's going to accept an award in a few minutes. And he'll apologize. Oh, wait, he didn't? It's the most bizarre thing I've seen.
But what's going on? Like, my first thing was, what's going on in Will Smith's mind? Like, where is he right now? Like, what? Like in his mindset? Like, what? Like, I don't know if he went method on the sometimes when people go method, they go a little like too far into that character and that carries over into real life. Did that happen? Or is there something, previously that happened that enraged him to do something like that? Like, is there history? I have so many questions about it. And, it's, you look at it and you go, man, that is serious. Like that is like, even me as a WWE superstar, I look at it and go, oh, okay.
Well, I don't know. There's evidence of you getting physical, defending your old lady too, right?
Of course. Yes. In a WWE setting, absolutely, 100%.
Oh, how are we to
know? Not
what's
at the Oscars in front of, Liza Minnelli and Lady Gaga,
Right.
You're lucky you didn't make another Marine movie that could have been competing against Will Smith in the Best Picture nominees. Otherwise, that same situation could have happened.
Well, you're lucky you're sitting in a Zoom call rather than in front of me, because you'd get slapped the taste out of your mouth right now.
Wow. I was thinking just that if it was The Rock instead of Chris Rock, Will is still in the audience laughing, right? There's no threat of a physical retaliation there.
I don't know if Rock would have said that joke.
No,
I think Brian would have written a better joke.
Really? Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't think that situation happens under those circumstances, but yeah, there's a lot of people that would have been dragged away other than Will. Yeah. That's some top insight right there. You're welcome.
Brian, tell us what's going on with young Rock. Does he die this season or no? Can you tell us that much?
Everyone keeps asking me if he's going to die this season, and it's a bit of a minor spoiler, but he lives. He lives throughout this season and every subsequent season. In fact, he's alive now. You can, catch him, The Rock, in League of Super Pets this summer and Black Adam in the holiday season. And Young Rock, we got a big episode coming up tomorrow because it's in the 80s. So all these great 80s wrestlers are making an appearance where they are throughout the entire series, for that matter. But a lot of new ones who weren't there in season 1 get seen and shown and spotlighted in season 2. And not just in the 80s, but in the Memphis era and in the 90s too. As you saw after last week's episode, we're out of the CFL now. Right. And it's really a matter of when, not if, we start getting into mid-90s Attitude Era.
I mean, when do we get to the 2010s, 2020s where Rock comes back and faces me and Truth at Survivor Series at MSG? First wrestling match back in 7 years. When do we get to that on Young Rock? That's what I want to know. I want to know when my acting debut on Young Rock comes out.
Yeah, that's a great question, Miz. And that's something the producers ponder literally every day on set.
I thought so.
It's all leading up to that 2010 match.
How do we get the Miz? How do we get the ratings of the Miz? Because that's what we need.
Well, now, Miz, you've aged gracefully, I'll say, but who would you want playing you? I don't know. Did I ask you this once before? I don't think I did.
Not play myself?
Yeah, no, but it's not typically how it works. Do you want like a Timothée Chalamet type, or who do you think jumps in as the Miz?
Oh, wow. Who would jump in as the Miz? Maybe the dude that did, but honestly, I feel like they're all my same age. Like maybe the dude that did
That's
Tommy Lee, in Pam and Tommy. I thought he did a good job in that show.
All right.
Maybe Channing, he could do it, but I mean, he's the same age as me. So it's like, I mean, I still look like I do 10 years ago. Like, I don't think that's what you don't understand. Like, I could play myself.
Gotcha.
Is Carol Channing still alive?
No, not different Channing. Different one. Right. Different one altogether. All right. Well, this has been great. I know everyone's busy. But Miz set it up. It's Saturday. Sunday, Miz will be drafting for his team, his League of Leagues team. But Saturday, you could see him teaming with Logan Paul against Dominic and Rey Mysterio. And he guarantees a win here. And if we could bet it somehow, we'd be wise to get some money down here, Brian, right? Although he liked his chances against Bad Bunny too. I don't know what to think here.
I mean, Miz just stole Rey's mask, which is, really the height of heel heat that you could possibly get.
Yeah.
And traditionally that could be a double-edged sword because, psychologically you've wounded Rey Mysterio and his son going into the match, but now he's got even bigger incentive to redeem himself and come out victorious in the end. Plus you're dealing with someone Dominic Mysterio has probably the least experience on the WWE roster, but Logan Paul has even less experience than that. I mean, this is like his first match or something, right?
That
So,
is his first match, yes. But I've been training with him, and when I say this guy is a natural, like, I am not lying. I've trained a lot of people and have watched a lot of people. I've never seen anyone take to wrestling as fast as Logan Paul has.
Yeah. All right. I don't know
Not
what
even
that
Bad
means.
Bunny.
Bad Bunny trained. Let me tell you something. Bad Bunny every day, all day. Thought like just trained for this. And Logan Paul, when I got in there, I was like, you can if you want to, but you're ready.
Who would you rather have buying your house, Miz? Logan Paul or Bad Bunny?
It's a good question.
Honestly, I don't know who has more money, to be honest. Like, Bad Bunny's pretty selling out everywhere. Like, his tour is absolutely insane. And I've never seen a person have so many fans. Like when I first looked at Bad Bunny's, like when I was going up against him, I was like, oh, who's Bad Bunny? I looked at his YouTube page and I was like, oh my God, this guy has 1 billion, not 1 million, 1 billion views on YouTube in just one of his videos. It was incredible. And just the insanity that came about with Bad Bunny. And then you look at a person like Logan Paul, and a person that knows how to create controversy, that knows how to get people talking. And whether you like them or not, you have to respect them. It's just two different entities.
So they're both giving you the rub, basically, is what you're saying.
I'm giving them the rub, is what I'm saying, because I'm training them. Well, I help train them.
But how does someone so infinitesimally less popular than them give them the rub as it relates to, WrestleMania, even though,
How dare you, Brian?
It's a really good question.
I'm the biggest star Brian. The biggest. There's no one bigger than me that you know.
You're the second biggest star I know on this podcast.
He writes for The Rock, Miz. It's tough to top.
I'm a big star. I was the Marine. I was the Marine, Sal.
Yeah, that's
Marine
true.
3, 4, 5, and 6. My franchise. Santa's Little Helper. Christmas Time. Ms. and Mrs., by the way. Coming back in June on the USA Network.
I love it.
Oh, good for you. And by the way, not to make this a subtle plug to something that hasn't been announced yet, but I do write plenty about Miz in the upcoming book. I do want to point that out.
Oh, you do? Right. Brian has a book out. Yeah.
I did.
You wrote a book. Like, did you write it, or do you have a ghostwriter?
I wrote it. What are you talking about?
Like, you wrote it.
I wrote it.
Wait a minute.
What's it about?
Hold on. But Brian, you didn't ask Miz for a blurb?
By the way, you didn't ask me to do the forward. Who's doing the forward?
I can't believe it. And ask you for a blurb.
Jerk. Who's doing your forward? I don't do your forward. If Rock's doing your forward, I'm going to be really pissed.
There's no forward.
What do you mean there's no forward? Everyone has a forward. How do you not have a forward? You're so conceited and so full of yourself that you don't even have a forward?
No, just the opposite. I don't need someone going on for 5 pages about when I first met. So, just get into it. Let's just start doing this. But I will ask you for a blurb. I meant to do that.
I was going to say, just tell him one name.
Now you need a favor. Now he needs a favor.
Well, I mean, take it or leave it. But
tell him one name that'll infuriate him that you asked before him to do a blurb.
I don't want. I can't reveal the blurbs yet.
You can do one.
Who'd you ask before me to do blurbs? Because you didn't ask me. I wasn't even asked. So I want to know who was on the list. And then you saw me and you're like, oh, I forgot about the Miz. I'll have him do a blurb. Oh, that'll be great.
I know. I was going to ask.
Let me get his celebrity in there.
Because I knew you would be, in good spirits then, because you always think you draft a good team. So
I do think I honestly, every season I do literally go, I have a great team.
That's right. So it's strategic.
All right. There you go. League of Leagues Sunday. You guys, nobody cares about that. But WrestleMania, that's Peacock Network, right?
Yeah.
Catch it Saturday and
Peacock.
Sunday.
You're not going to want to miss it. WWE Network worldwide. And honestly, WrestleMania always creates moments that'll last a lifetime. And, you'll see Logan Paul and myself take on the Mysterios. It's going to be an insane 2 nights, Saturday and Sunday. So definitely watch Peacock. If you don't have Peacock, get it.
All right.
Young Rock was also on Peacock.
Young Rock was on Peacock. Yeah. It all comes together. One friendly bet that Miz is not going to pay on if and when he loses. But between you guys, Brad, you want to do the same bet, double or nothing? I mean, nobody pays anybody.
Bills Browns, yeah.
Bills Browns.
Oh, I think the Browns are going to go further than the Bills.
Oh boy.
I think the Bills are number 2, to be honest. Yeah, Browns are number 1. Bills are number 2.
Wow. Oh, that'd be
spoken
great.
like
AFC
a completely rational, non-objective fan. So yeah, I'll take that bet.
Well, he gave you number 2. That was good.
Yeah.
Fellas, thanks. This is the highlight of my year. God bless you both. Good luck, Miz. Good luck,
Thanks,
Brian.
guys.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thanks,
See
guys.
ya.